Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house today with a friend of mine that I met at a speaking engagement in Erie, Pennsylvania, of all places. I kept saying to myself, how did I get to Erie? But I was watching Undercover Billionaire, and a guy that was on the first season with Glenn Stearns, RJ was on there. And I was watching that show ahead of time back in the day with my wife. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to meet that guy. And I ended up meeting him. And then we ended up doing some things together. So very, very fortunate, though, while I was there to meet this individual who I have on the show today, Nat Richmond. She was born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania. She always let her drive and determination shape her destiny, not her adversities. She's a self-taught music producer, voice actor, web designer, and software engineer. She's now pouring her passions into her own imprint, Rich Ascend Media. As the name implies, she went to inspire others to reach for the stars, no matter how difficult circumstances from which they come. You know, guys, as you're listening to this episode, this sounds a lot like what I talk about all the time. So this is going to be a great guest, perfect for this show. Nat, what's happening?
Yes. What is happening? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me. I want to start the show like we always do for tradition purposes, is to ask you the question, Nat, what are you made of?
I've been pondering on that for the past couple days, and I think the one word that I can use to condense everything about the way that I feel about life, about existence, about how we treat one another, is the word purpose. That's the word that keeps coming to me. I'm made of purpose. Ever since I was a child, I've always asked myself, how can my energy in this moment be best used? And I know that that probably sounds like as a child. Yes, as a child, I've always been determined to make myself better. Always been determined to exceed what I was the previous day. So for me, that's purpose. I don't believe in wasting energy, whether it's money, time, food, energy. I believe that everything that we have, we are supposed to use, and we are supposed to develop it into something that is useful, not just for ourselves, but for the next person. So for me, I'm made of purpose.
Love it. Now, what is your purpose? Do you have one defined purpose?
I have several purposes. I have several, but I'm still in the process of really honing in on that one, but I think I'm getting closer to it. And right now, for me, it's inspiration. I feel that my story of adversity, of being self sufficient in so many different hardships and coming out, just being able to still smile, I think that in and of itself, it's rare. And I'm not saying it's rare like no one else does it, but a lot of times you see people that are broken by their circumstances. It actually makes me stronger. I look adversity in the face and I say, bring me more, because I feel that I do.
I
I
love it. No, I
want
love it.
challenge. I love challenge. I purposefully try to find ways to make my life a reflection of who I want to be. And I just want to be the strongest, best version of myself. So right now I feel like I'm here to inspire. I'm here to inspire through my words, through my actions, through the decisions that I make, whether it's a business that I start, whether it's a song that I make, whether it's a piece that I write and perform. I feel like everything behind it is to inspire another person.
Yeah. So my coach told me that you start with your purpose and mission is all people are. And so mine is all people are unstoppable to live in a life of their dreams. So it sounds like to
Mm,
me, what you just described to me is all people are inspired. And
yes,
when you take that and you filter your mission, you filter everything through your mission, thoughts, words, actions, your environment, the people you hang out with,
yes,
all through that purpose, that all people are inspired. And if it doesn't serve that, you get rid of it. Right.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
and that's not something that has to stay that way. It's a living organism as far as I'm concerned, and it can evolve into other things. So I
Hmm.
think we just figured out your main big purpose for right now until it
Yeah.
evolves into something else is all people are inspired.
I'm content with it. I mean, I think it's a great vision to have for right now. And I think the world needs it, not just from myself, but from all of us. If you have any gift that you're not afraid to express to the world, if it can help another human being, why not? It's not always about the dollar amount behind it, because I truly believe that what you put in the universe, you will get back. So you will be taken care of monetarily. But the first thing that you have to do is figure out how can you help the next person. And then everything, all your abundance comes out of that.
Yeah, yeah, agree 100%. So tell me what it was like growing up in Erie, Pennsylvania. You take me back as far back as you want to, but what was it like as a child?
Oh, I would love to. Single parent household, my mother raised me. I learned very on the art of self-sufficiency. I learned very early on that, if I don't do it, it won't get done. So, going to school for me was almost like an escape. But it was a good escape, right? Like it set me up to say, how can I once again better myself today? So I would set myself up for like private goals. Like what can I accomplish today? What can I learn today? My mom, she has a visual impairment, so she wasn't able to do things like help me with homework and things like that. So I knew I had to show up every day because if I don't learn it, I'm not gonna be able to go home and get that help or that mentorship. So just as a child, like it just set me up to better myself. And when I wasn't at school, I played a lot of sports, whether it was, flag football, basketball, and then somewhere in there, music just gravitated towards me, and I gravitated towards it. And I began to realize that I really love to write. I really love to write, and I really love to kind of visualize, like, how can I make this song sound better? What instruments would I add to it? So by the time I got to high school, music became my way to escape, not just escape adversities, but just escape the world for a little bit in a good way. How can I be artistic? How can I tap further into myself? For me, writing poetry, writing raps was the same as maybe someone else writing in their diary. So this whole time, like I'm figuring out who I am really. And I mean, I can't complain. I can't complain to even just be able to say that I had that space to do that because sometimes, you don't have that space to really look into yourself. I did a lot of introspection as a kid.
Do you talk to yourself, or did you when you were younger?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1000%.
Yeah, yeah. I did a tweet the other day that said that. Like I talk to myself because I want somebody around me all the time who
Mm-hmm.
thinks the way I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like that's
Yeah.
man, I'm constantly having conversations. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I wanted to ask you that. But how about instruments? Did you get into playing instruments?
I did very briefly though. Let's see. I learned how to play the violin. I didn't like it too much. And actually, I learned how to play the piano. Local legend by the name of Mary Alice Brown. Shout out to Mary Alice Brown. Amazing woman, amazing artist in Erie, Pennsylvania. I actually was able to sit down with her for a couple months and learn a few things about the piano. So that was pretty cool. But those are really the only two instruments I really sat down to learn. I really want to learn drums. Think I could do some things with some drums if I
So
ever.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
then, how much do you use the piano now in producing?
Um, I
Or
would
do you use
say from time
samples?
to time. I mean, I use a lot of samples. Like I was brought up listening to like Pete Rock and DJ Primo, so the way they cut up records, that was what I wanted to do. Like I love just the interpolation of just the 60s and the 70s rolled into something into the 90s and how they just made it sound so smooth. Like that's what I wanted. So I made sure to take notes from them.
And so then in high school, like you were in music and like were you doing things like taking classes in high school music and then outside you were
No.
doing your thing too, or no?
Actually, this is where coding came in, right? So once I started going to Central, I took up data processing. For some strange reason, software engineering, it just sounded appeasing to me. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just because it was new and I never heard of it before. I don't know what gravitated me towards it, but I started to learn to code HTML, CSS. But outside of school is where I still kept up that passion for music. So I would make beats and then I would DJ on the radio, local radio station 90.5. I was DJ Nilla on there for some time. So I just had like this huge, varied type of life around me at that time. It was like I was half nerd in school and I was half artist. And I'm grateful for that I was able to explore both sides of myself, and I felt pretty comfortable. I was like, okay, like I like this. It's well rounded. This feels comfortable for me. This is a rhythm that I can get into. So it's a pretty good time. It's a pretty good time.
And so tell me some stories from growing up in Erie. You got to have some stories. Like what's a story you could tell me that's shaped
Hmm.
you? Like remember this is about what you're made of.
Shaped me. Okay. Okay. I can remember I can remember one time I was going to a job interview. This was just my persistence. I was going to this job interview and I didn't have a ride. And anybody knows, Erie knows, like upper Peach Street, like past the mall, past like Splash Lagoon, you got to have a car up there. You're not getting up there by bus, at least not
Hmm.
15 or so years ago. So me being naive, I went ahead, I filled out an application for this car dealership that I thought was closer to the city, but it wound up being way far out. So I'm on the bus, completely unprepared. I have on a white shirt, no umbrella. It starts pouring raining. And we get to the very last stop, the highest up Peachtree we can go. And the bus driver was like, well, you're going to have to walk a couple miles if you're going to go to this car dealership. And I have my resume in hand, nothing to cover me. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. Like, I need a job, you know? So I went ahead, I got off the bus, it's pouring. I'm walking on the side of the road. Oh, when I think about it now. But I walked for probably 40 minutes. I didn't realize how long of a walk it would be. By the time I get to the dealership, everybody's looking at me like, oh my gosh, you know, like look, like you got caught in a monsoon or something. I am drenched. My resume soaked, and I was like, I'm here for my job interview. She was like, okay. I was like, so do you have like a bathroom so I can like maybe pat dry a little bit? And went to the bathroom, you know, kind of did what I could do. And I sat down and I did the interview. I didn't get the job, but I was not leaving there without my interview. Like I walked this far in the rain. And that's kind of how I approach life. Like I don't let things really get to me. If I got to do it, I got to do it.
So then from there, as you got out
Mhm.
of high school and all that, like what was your first job that you really got into?
Got into or first job I had?
Well, the first job you, I guess, where did you start? Like, where did it all start after high school?
I mean, let's see. I did a lot of temp jobs at that time because I really didn't want to. And this probably sounds weird, but at that time, my confidence wasn't very high. I was doing all these things, but I didn't have a lot of clarity about what I was supposed to do. I didn't really feel like I had a strong support system. So I was on still this path of self-evaluation. I took a lot of temp jobs and I said, well, right now my passion is music. So I'm gonna stay with that. So I stayed with the DJing. I was there for about 10 years. I would work on the weekends. I had my show, The Lounge Spot, you know, with Light Shadow DJ Nilla. And that would be like the after the club show. So I would have all the local artists come. I would interview them, break their new music, and that was passion for me. I would still work on my own music. So I'm recording, I'm dropping my singles, and I'm picking up temp jobs and I'm just figuring it out, you know, selling my own mixtapes, you know, literally walking around to bars, the mall, outside the clubs. I got a stack of CDs, $5. Who's gonna buy one, you know? And I hustled. I put my passion behind what I believed in at that time. I didn't have much direction with it, but I knew somewhere in there I was gonna figure it out. And then it was funny. I dropped my first album in 2011. It was called LFC, Late for Class. I wrote the whole thing, produced the whole thing, and I drop it. And you know, I'm starting to see some movement behind some of these records. You know, I get a placement actually on Ray Donovan, the Showtime show. I got a
Yeah.
placement on there with one of my songs from the album. I got a placement on Casual, a show on Hulu. I get nominated for an Underground Music Award out in New York in 2012. So I was like, okay, like there's some momentum here. Like I'm seeing some things, but I had to learn the hard way that you still need a team. I didn't
Yeah.
have much of that, and I didn't have the capital. So
Hmm.
I'm putting all this energy out here, but it's being dispersed in not a very effective way because it's just me. I have friends and I have associates that's working as hard as me, but I don't have anything that's like a solid movement behind what I'm doing. So I got discouraged. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and get a 9 to 5. This is too much. And then I took that time away to reevaluate myself, and I said, okay, so this isn't me living in my purpose either. I have to do something. And I decided to go to school. So I went to Full Sail University for music production. I got my associates. And that was kind of me stepping back into music, saying, okay, like now that I have like a true proper instruction behind it, let's do something with it. And I've been on this road ever since, like Shadow Productions, which I'm this passionate about it. I tatted it on my arm.
Let's go.
I'm a walking logo, and Richard Sin, which came out of that. So Richard Sin is really just the blending of everything that I've learned. From graphic design to web design to music production, voiceover work. I just was like, let's put everything together. I'm good in all of these areas. I'm passionate about being better in these areas, and I can inspire people with my journey. So Richard Sin, is an ascension of self.
So you do all these things, and who are you mainly working with? Small businesses or
Small
who?
businesses, small
Yeah.
businesses, yes. And it for me it's fulfilling, especially when I'm able to work with those people who represent the minority, right? Like women business owners, LGBTQ. If you're young and you're just getting in, like I tell people all the time, I will work with your budget. I'm not here to be greedy. For me, my portfolio is more important to me. Who I'm working with is more important to me. What their passion is, what their mission statement is more important to me than what the final dollar amount is going to be, because I truly believe I'm going to get what I deserve. But if I have these talents, why not use that to help someone else also get to the forefront and where they deserve to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what's your favorite thing to do out of all of it, though?
You
What your
know,
company does?
that's difficult because everything is a reflection of me in some way. Like I love to solve problems. That's where software development comes in. Like I just graduated from General Assembly back in May. I took their can't talk, software engineering immersive course. Studied very hard for about 3 months, 500 hours, just going hard. It was probably one of the hardest undertakings I've done recently in the past 10 years. And when I was able to graduate, I was like, like, yes. And for me, that's fulfilling because I love figuring things out. I love the puzzle behind it. I love the frustration that goes into finding that one semicolon that throws the whole program. I actually like that stuff. But then I equally, I know,
I'm
but
laughing because I don't.
not, not many people do, but I equally love making music. Like I can sit for hours and just play around with sounds and see what comes out of it. But I also equally love to write and just express myself. So that's kind of difficult. I do feel like it all represents me in some way, shape, or form. But if I had to pick one, I would say music production. I would say
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
production. Yeah.
Now, do you have something you can play for us?
I do. I mean, I can
Yeah.
play a
Play me
few
something
things.
that's like your favorite thing. So just give me some little taste of it.
I mean, would you like music? What would you like
Yeah. Yeah.
specifically?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Something that you're proud of. What's something that you're like one of your things that you're most proud of? Let's hear it. Let's
Okay.
share it with the audience.
Okay. Will I be able to play it on my system and you hear it?
I don't know. We can try it.
Huh.
This show ain't that professional. So I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But let's try it anyway.
I'll play it off of my phone
Yeah, you can
actually.
play it on your phone. Yep, and it'll go through the
Yeah.
mic.
This is actually something that I just made not too long ago. It's a song by the name of Believin'. And we'll just let you hear it. Okay.
All right, let's go. This is "Believing" by Nat Richmond.
And I did produce it and all that. Can you hear it?
You do, yeah. You do the voice too.
Again, talking to my zen, kept the message clear, patience paper thin.
Yeah, I love it. Is that where's the chorus? Is that the chorus?
The chorus is I'm going out
Okay.
that I won't know a soul, I won't need them. Yeah.
Okay, that was the chorus. Yeah, yeah.
It's basically a
Love it,
song
man. It's
about
smooth. It's silky. It's very silky.
it's very silk. I wanted to capture the '90s in that, the vibe of the '90s, the cool, laid back, just having fun, summertime vibe. But I
Yeah,
wanted it to be inspirational.
yeah. I love that, and it reminds me of something. So I've been into hip hop since I grew up outside of Philly, and there was a station called Power 99,
Okay.
and I used to listen to Power 99 all the time. as a kid. And I just remember my parents, they'd be like, why do you listen to this kind of music? And I'm like, why don't you listen to this kind of music? They don't know what you're talking about. Something about hip hop and R&B to me, I don't know why. I felt it, and but no, that reminds me of something, and I have to think of what it is. Definitely has that flavor from like I would even say early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to capture, some Queen Latifah vibes in there.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. Queen Latifah. There's something else there that I'm thinking of. There was a little bit of shit, man. I don't know. I can't think, but I feel it. I definitely feel that. I definitely can relate to that. Took me back a little bit. So no, it sounded great. Sounded silky.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. I'll take that. So let me ask you this as we wrap up here. What are you really excited about? What do you have your sights on right now in the future? Like what's something that's out there that when you don't feel like getting up in the morning, you still get up anyway because of it. There's something that we all set our sights on to keep us going. That's what I call the rocket fuel 2.0, because the first rocket fuel is the toxicity from your past that you use as fuel. 2.0 is that's something out there, your dream or something that you set out for yourself to pull you forward. What is that for you?
Honestly, I see myself public speaking. I see myself doing TED type talks over the country, quite possibly over the world, if God sees fit. I would love to stand in front of people and inspire them the way that I've been inspired. I listen to people like you. I listen to people like Tony Robbins, Gary V, Les Brown. I pull from you guys, and I get inspired to get up in the morning and do my best, because that's all you can do is your best. What that amounts to doesn't matter. Just do your best. It will quantify over time. And so for me, within the next 5 years or so, once I get myself situated and really get the ball moving in a way that I can feel proud about, I want to be able to take the time that I'm putting into building my business now into inspiring people, into taking that same energy, standing in front of crowds, and just going off of my experiences. This is how you can do it too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Let's go.
That I'm ready, and that's why I want to start doing more, podcasts. Like this is actually my first podcast, so thank you.
Let's go. I just said that today to another guest. I'm like, I don't know how I've had all these episodes and I still get newbies and first timers on here, but I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't do that, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm like, great. I don't give a shit. And for me to be able to provide a platform and a space for people that are coming up, I mean, that's awesome. So I want to remember this. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. And this is what I want to do, and eventually have my own podcast where I can invite people on, and maybe I can also give them a platform where they're like, wow, I got to this point,
Yeah.
So
well, hold on. You just said you want to have a podcast. So
I do.
You know what that means, right?
What's that mean?
That means today you have to do something that takes you in that direction besides just being on the show. You have to come up with a name for your podcast. You have to come up with something that's going to take you towards that, and start doing it today, and start doing a podcast like this weekend. Like remove all obstacles and just do it.
Okay.
Because podcasting changed my life. And somebody told me on a show, I was on a guest when I first started, and he's like, dude, this is going to change your life. You have no idea. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just didn't know what he's talking about, but I knew that I was on a mission, and everything that I'm doing now all stemmed from this podcast. So all you need, I got a blueprint. I created this tech platform. I don't know if you know about it, but Blueprinted is a new tech platform that we've created where people can find the exact steps to achieve things, not a course, but actual, I want to start a podcast. Where do I start? It takes you from very first thought of it all the way through repurposing and becoming omnipresent with it. And step by step, you just follow those steps, use the resources in there, you have a podcast. And that's what you need, but you need to start. And there's no reason to put it off, because if you just said that and you said you wanted to, you got to do it now.
You're right. I've been challenged. Now I have to do that.
And you also said, I pay attention very closely to people, by the way. You also said, if God willing, or it's God's plan. Well, God wouldn't have put it in your head if it wasn't his plan. So a lot of people, and by the way, as long as you have a good heart and you're ethical and you're trying to go on the right path, the thoughts that come in your head are put there by God on purpose. And then you have a free will whether to do it or not, and when to do it, now or later.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just know that's already in the works for you. But the faster you accept it and move towards it and take time out of the equation, the more successful you're going to be with it. So I want to challenge you and
Amen.
encourage you to make it
Yes.
happen. And now,
Listen, I move off of challenge. Anybody that knows me knows you challenge me to do something that's going to get done. So this weekend, because of you, dedicated to you, it's getting done. Let's
all
go.
right. So we need a name of it, and we need to know if
Yes.
it's going to be monologue style or guests or combination of both, how
Mhm.
long they're going to be, what's the topic. Like I got all this laid out, by the way, if you want to buy the blueprint. So I'll sell it to you for
Okay.
cheap.
I'll
But
buy it. I'll buy it.
yeah, we're getting ready to put it on the platform. And
Mhm.
but no, yeah. And that's a big part of the beginning of my blueprint on podcasting is you got to get your head right first,
You're absolutely
anything you
right.
do.
I
So
already have a title in mind right now.
let me hear it.
Richardson Podcast. Why not?
Okay. It works for me. Let's do it.
Yes,
Make it
let's
happen.
go.
I like it. I
Branding.
like it. I like
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
Now, as we wind down here,
Mhm.
what I want to know is like if my audience wants to work with you in any form, shape, or whatever, what's the best way for
Mhm.
them to get a hold of you? And also like, specifically, who are you looking for? You mentioned small business owners and the underserved, right?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
let's just repeat that and go into that just to make sure everybody heard that.
So please, 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 if you are looking to work with me, network with me in any way, shape, or form, go to my domain, my main webpage, which is rich-ascend.com. That's RIC-ASCEND.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. Anybody that knows me knows I love LinkedIn, Natalie Richmond. Follow me on there. I should be, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm the first one that pops up. But if I'm not, you recognize the face. But those are my two. Those are my two. Or if you're on Instagram, I'm under Light Shadow, LITESHADO. So let's
Well,
link.
go check Nat out, guys. And
Please.
listen, Nat, this being your first podcast, you're a natural. Great job. I know you had some
Thank
radio
you.
background and all that too. That helped you, but you did a great job.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't
Thank
even
you.
have known it was your first time unless you told me that. But now you are a podcast host yourself, so which is cool. And I will be
Absolutely.
honored to come onto your show anytime you ask me to. Okay.
How about you be my first guest?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
We'll have Kim
Let's
set it
go.
up and we'll get it going. And I'll light that sucker up, but it's going to be hard to follow me.
I know, but see, I have some ideas on the flow of what I'm going to be going for, energy wise. Because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm someone who is very much in tune with like spirituality, and I think I want to base it around that, about the energy of why we do things, the
Yeah.
intention,
Yeah.
the
I love it.
purpose. So I think
Love
we're
it.
going to go that route.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Nat. I appreciate
Thank
it. It was great
you.
to hear your story and get to know you better. And I
Thank
am
you.
rooting for you. And if there's anything I can
appreciate
never do
that.
to help you, all you got to do is holler at your boy. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You have a wonderful day, everybody out there. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. You guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. And I will put Nat in the Unstoppable Club right now after hearing that story. You guys keep going out and subscribing to the favorite podcast platform, to the What Are You Made Of podcast. Go subscribe on YouTube to Mike C-Roc. And also look out for that blueprinted platform. That's BLOO printed.com/VIP. If you're a creator, expert, or know how to do something and you can break it down into step-by-step process, you should be getting paid for that. And you should be sharing that because it's selfish otherwise. Until next time, be unstoppable.